2 quarters to go. And Tiff wins the Grand Prix and on track.
Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. After I got my Fanatec set up that I built in a recent video, I was invited to join an F1 2020 league. My first league race was for Haas at Spa. I started with a poor quali where I just couldn't get a lap together.
LA16 and Desborough, your people have been knocked out of Q2. That is unlucky for them.
That being said, I had quite strong pace in the rain during the race. I had a few good moves, fought up to 5th, taking advantage of this crash ahead of me.
Because he's AI. Oh no, look who's getting involved. Tiff's getting involved. Tiff's an absolute dive bomb. 2 cars in one go. That is the move of the race by Tiff. Wow. And into, great Infiniti's race.
I then started to close the gap to the car ahead by about a second a lap. I was up to an effective 4th place because 3rd had a large time penalty, and as I got a bit wide to avoid punting the McLaren ahead, you'll see I get punted myself. The onboard's really frustrating to watch. You can see I've saved a load of battery for a final push along that back straight, so 6th place in the end for me, getting 8 points but losing out on potentially 4 more points.
It's going to put him into a spin.
My next race was for McLaren at Monza, and it was dire.
10 red lights for the Italian Grand Prix for RSF1, and away we go. Mason gets a great launch on the Singapore tyres though, compared to Jamie. Extra quarters for P3 at the minute. Still hasn't been a
So
great
after
start.
quite a bad quali, I got a great launch, but the car in front of me got forced wide on the exit of turn 2 and just beached itself. Nothing I could do in time. I got wing damage, and then I just couldn't get the car stopped for the next chicane.
All being cautious to the back. Marco Sainz may have forced himself through a little bit, but I don't think anyone's got down
On the grass there. It's now from here. Sorry to cut across you though. I just saw it out from here in the grass. Oh my god, there's a dive bomb for the McLaren. He's around. LA16 has his luck's gone from bad to worse.
After that, it was a pretty boring race for me. I got fastest lap at least, so 2 points in that race.
LA16 have fast up the race now.
Not sure if I'm working this out properly. It could be.
Then finally on to my third race, Singapore. I was saving the medium tyre life in Q2 and being quite cautious not to invalidate the lap. Plus I was heavy with fuel in case I had to do a second push lap, so I only just managed to get through to Q3 with this 1:37.1.
You've just put in the fastest lap. Good job.
Then we got McLaren, who is Fish Sticks, and Tiff. Tiff absolutely dominating the session right now by 1/10.
I'm definitely glad I made this choice though, as medium hard and one stop is the best strategy for me. You only have to pit once and the undercut is pretty strong if you're willing to make the hard tyres last a while.
What's Tiff got?
For Q3, the strat was to put in a banker lap first and then go for a couple of push laps.
What's Tiff around the last 2 corners? Only P5.
I backed out of my first push lap, so I'll take you on board for the second. All I'm looking to do here is improve in my sector 3. So all the way to the right down to turn 1, taking the curbs on turn 2 on the inside without invalidating, avoiding the curb on turn 3 so I can get the best drive possible all the way down to 5, and then moving as far left as possible as I go through 4. Taking a good entry into 5, I'm a tiny bit up on my time by a couple of hundredths, all the way down to 6, going as close to the wall as possible, and then brake for 7 at about the 80 metres mark. Again, I'm taking just enough curb on the inside to get the lap time and not invalidate and get a good drive all the way down to turn 8. Through 8 we lose a little bit of time on the entry but gain it on the exit, quite wide for 9, and again we lose a little bit of time but we get a good enough drive out the corner to make it up, so still within the realms of my previous lap time. Up to turn 10, taking a load of speed through the apex, and through 11. You'll notice I've turned off ERS deployment in this section, just to get better traction, and also because the battery isn't enough to do a whole lap. Go quite wide in 13, but get a good drive out of the corner, again, matching the first push lap that we did. All the way down to turn 14, braking quite late here. I lose a couple of hundredths worrying about the car on the right in case they're going to cause me issues, but they don't. Quite tight into 15, braking hard early into 16, that's where I set a purple sector 2, so I know I'm on for quite a good time. All the way through to 18, taking as much as I can on the inside, quite close to the wall. All the way through to 20, 21, just being really careful here. You'll see I'm 6/10ths up, and then just in this last corner I make it the 10th, and that was the difference between second and third. So through turn 22, all the way to the line, 1:35.1, that's 2 seconds faster than my Q2 time. and because the person in first place had a 5-second grid penalty, that was pole for me.
2 corners to go in your lap, sending it through the corners. P2! He's done it! Tiff! What a lap! So Tiff got pole! 10 red lights for the Singapore Grand Prix for F4. Long hold and away we go.
So at the start I get a decent launch and maintain P1. Then carnage unfolds in the background and it's a safety car straight away. You can see what happened over on Chris 12 LFC's channel.
Chris was tired.
Jamie's off.
And there's already a safety car.
What on earth has happened to Chris there? I've just seen a car go off to Narnia.
You can see me scrubbing the fronts through 20 and 21 just to get the heat into them. I launched before 22, and I just misjudged the safety car line by a couple of tenths, get my acceleration nerfed and it puts me into a spin.
He's got his spun! Oh my god, what a save!
It took everything I had to catch it and get the power pack down quickly enough to stay ahead. I think the fact it was such a long left-hander really saved me and prevented any wing damage as I rotated. Pretty straightforward then until lap 11, just holding off the racing point. I pit early to get the undercut and they follow me in. I go for the hard to the end, and they go for the mediums. So from then on, I know I'm not racing against them anymore, because they'll have to stop again.
The undercut is very powerful, so I'm surprised that none of these guys pitted. Yes. Side by side action between Tiff and Saints, by the way. Saints. Same thing.
Oh, you went there. You went there.
Put a big helmet on.
I defend for about a lap, but I realise I'm losing tenths per corner defending for no reason. So I just move over all the way to the left in the DRS zone, and I chose to let them through before sector 3. I only won this race by half a second, so I reckon I wouldn't have won if I hadn't let the racing point through then, just to focus on my own race, or maybe I'd have got wing damage defending, who knows, but I'm happy with what I did there.
Why do you think he gets
Wait, how can pit of mediums?
Oh. I started on mediums.
He's got to pit again. He's going for medium soft. Alco's in the pits.
The racing point later pits for hards rather than softs, so that means my real rival is now the Alpha Tauri behind me, on hards 3 laps younger than mine. I'll take you on board for the last lap. My tyres were absolutely gone at this point. Even with the high front wing, I was understeering into corners and then getting yaw and slip on the exit, so I just knew I needed to blast it down the straights and then go lean on the exit to avoid spinning up the wheels. So, rich fuel and overtake all the way down to turn 1, taking the curb on the inside and the outside at 2 just to gain lap time, and a bit like qualifying, avoiding the curb on 3 so I can get as good a drive as possible all the way down to turn 4 and 5. A little bit of battery there, but just watch the gap close in the DRS zone, so they're 7 tenths behind at this point. I put it into rich and DRS and I'm running at a fuel deficit again, but look at the gap, 6 tenths, 5 tenths, 4 tenths, they really are closing at this point using DRS and battery. I knock it down into lean to get rid of the fuel deficit, and now I'm just putting the car in as neat a place as I can on the racing line and a bit to the side so they just can't get past. A street circuit does help with this, but placement in this last lap was absolutely critical. All the way down through sector 2 then to the twisty section, I've got it in lean, just maintaining as much grip as I possibly can, apexing as well as I can. You'll see I do go a little bit deep at 13, but then we can run out of here with rich and DRS, so they can't close up. So they're 7.5 tenths behind there. I'm running rich and battery, I think so are they with DRS, 7 tenths, 6 tenths, 5 tenths, so they're really closing the gap down behind me. I get a good drive out, and then it's just sector 3 to contend with.
To the left, to the right. All the way round, I think, I don't know.
Neat and tidy is the name of the game for this section. You'll see the Alpha Tauri actually just clips the inside but doesn't gain any damage from it. They are gaining a little bit on me through the corners, so I think that may have saved me, and then it's just turns 22 and 23 to contend with. I go quite tight.
2 quarters to go. And Tiff wins the Grand Prix.
And there we go, Singapore, my first win in the league. Tune in to RSF1 Racing on Twitch every Thursday at 8. This Thursday 27th we're at Sochi Autodrome, followed by Suzuka on the 3rd and Circuit of the Americas on the 10th. Please do subscribe for plenty more to come this year, and as always thank you very much for watching. Ciao!